Thank you, Peter. And then to round out our set of introductory statements prior to our panel session, please welcome Louise Starkey.
Thank you very much. Tēnā koutou katoa. I'm going to take a slightly different approach. I'm going to have a big picture think about what education is. I'm doing this as I reflect on some of the comments that I heard yesterday about education. I believe we're at the start of a digital age. Teachers are using or would like to use a range of technologies within their classrooms to enable learning. To consider education in the digital age context, it's worth reflecting on the scale and time frame of change that's occurred in the past, like in the industrial age. I think the digital age is probably comparable to the scale of change. During the industrial age, economic and social patterns changed. Migration, manufacturing, mass production. As a result of this, there was change in hierarchies, power structures. Schooling became compulsory in many countries, with the aim of preparing the next generation to be productive citizens in an industrialising nation. What it means to be productive citizens that notion changes over time. Prior to the digital age, schooling was underpinned by a positivist notion of knowledge. The world was created in a certain way, and understanding the social and the natural world came down to scientists and academics who would discover or uncover the truth. So the role of schooling was focused on young people learning that truth and the facts. Teachers and texts were the providers of knowledge, or content, to use the term that's used here. Students were the consumers of knowledge, and success of the system through exams were used to ascertain if those facts or knowledge had been learnt. Under this notion of knowledge, the focus of broadband in education would be to deliver content to learners, like downloading lectures, downloading documentaries. The digital age has so far seen two key ideas which are impacting on schooling if we are to prepare the next generation to be active in society. I've heard Richard Bean and Liz Evans today have talked about participatory citizenship. Participatory citizenship in a schooling context is not learning about rules, rights and responsibilities, but processes and how to be a voice in society. The second aspect that is becoming important is the notion of knowledge, which is changing from being passive to be learnt, as in a positivist society, to active, to be understood, to be mashed, to be developed. So schooling at the start of the digital age will likely include the following features. It will include connecting and collaborating, and you can see the use of ultra-fast broadband within that. So that's within the classroom, beyond the classroom. Video conferencing has been around for many years, particularly in the rural areas, and I know the Wellington Loop, that's been around for quite a while. And I think Kate mentioned the use of video conferencing for the senior classes. So that opens up access to a lot of students that hasn't been there before. So it's connecting and collaborating is the first one. The second one, critiquing, very important aspect of being a citizen in the digital age, being able to critique sources, critique learning, critique your own progress, critique the content that is being delivered to you. Third one is the conceptual understanding, always important, and the skills, gaming type activities, very useful in developing conceptual understanding. And the fourth one is creating knowledge. So not only being the users of knowledge, but actually creating knowledge. To enable a curriculum like this, it requires the teacher to be the highly skilled professional and recognised as such, to make those critical decisions on teaching and learning. Drivers and barriers. Geography, I probably don't need to say too much about that. In New Zealand, very, very important, particularly for our rural schools and keeping people in rural areas. Conceptions of effective teaching, the cost and the policies, those three are all sort of interrelated. Depends on teachers' conceptions of effective teaching as to how they use the digital technologies that they have. And what opportunities they have to do that. Gosh, time goes really fast when you're standing up here. Cost, access and availability. Well, that probably goes without saying in deciding whether you can use the digital technologies. The third one, policies. Policies will affect all the use of ultra-fast broadband within schools. To enable and encourage innovation, there needs to be policies that support and encourage internal accountability, where the teacher is recognised as the professional expert. Policies which control and stifle innovations, such as external hyper-accountability, which is imposed on schools, is likely to be a barrier to the uptake of ultra-fast broadband in a way that is appropriate for digital age learners if we want digital age citizens. So just to round up, I've got one more comment before I round up, and that is that a lot of the data that we've seen this morning in those reports didn't include the low socioeconomic groups, because they're sort of eliminated because they may not have the phone lines or whatever it was that they were doing the testing on. It's also a focus within education, is how we make sure that those low socioeconomic learners are included in the digital world. So just to round up, I think that the important aspect about e-education is the notions that underpin what education is about. Okay, thank you.